Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi!
Hello friends, another patch is upon us and I'm going to bring you all the juiciest bits and talking points. Haarken heralds the start of the Black Legion rework, big buffs to Ahriman that strengthen the Psyker Guild Raid team, Guild War changes, and a new machine of war to discuss, so let's dive in. To begin, here is a broad overview of what you can expect over the coming month. Haarken World Claimer gets a rework. He gets updated stats and a refreshed active ability. Ahriman's passive ability, Psychic Stock, has been buffed in a manner that raises the damage output of the Psyker team and for Chaos Psykers or Flamers in general. The Custodes have been announced as a faction, and Aesoth will have a 2-week hero release event this patch starting on June 15th. We also have a new machine of war for the Adepta Sororitas faction, the Exorcist artillery tank with an incursion event that also brings along 2 new units. We have some updates to Guild War with a new league system and updated rewards. Beyond that, we have the usual stuff every patch as shown here. Some quests, training rush events, requisition banners, and a legendary release event. There are a couple of notable absences this patch. First, there is no survival event this time around. There is also no new campaign event. There's a lot to dive into, so let's break it all down. We'll start with the rework. Fittingly for the Herald, Haarken World Claimer gets to be the first of the Black Legion rework. Haarken has had a small increase to his base health by 8%, and he has also gained the Terrifying trait. His active ability, Herald of the Apocalypse, has had its damage increased. Also, it deals damage to a second target behind the main target. Instead of reducing armor, now the next attack against those targets deal bonus damage. So in theory, you could set up a big hit with Ragnar while you're working on building up your multi-hit team. In these clips, we can look at a few things. Here, you can see how Haarken's active now damages the first target and the one behind it. The enemies suffer the appropriate debuff. When we add Ragnar to the equation, we can see that the pre-active damage here is 55,000, and the post-active Warhowl damage is about 89,000. The passive has also been tweaked a little. It now includes units that flee as a result of Haarken's attacks and also applies to Haarken's active itself. So if Haarken kills 3 characters and then uses his active, it gains bonus damage and does 3 extra hits. Where does that leave the character? I think Haarken is stronger but still unlikely to make or break existing meta teams. I still think he's primarily a PvP or war character. Things might start to look different when the rest of the faction is reworked too. It will also probably make the Fall of Cadia campaign more fun to play for newer players. Ahriman's passive has been reworked slightly to a net positive effect. On screen here, you can see the before and after of the ability descriptions. Essentially, Ahriman sacrifices a little bit of percentage damage boost to allow the bonus damage to be uncapped. This is huge for characters like the Neurothrope, who, with high ground and max settings, can deal upwards of 100,000 damage with a single hit. I haven't done enough testing to see if this on its own raises the Psyker team's levels the same as the other raid teams, but it is a much needed and welcome boost. Ahriman is also better for Chaos units with Psychic or Flame damage. Now Chaos units also gain a small damage buff too on top of the percentage damage increase. Note that this extra damage also gets the percentage increase, so the overall boost is greater than what it looks like on first glance. It looks like Snowprint are looking at ways to increase the potency of the Psyker team without directly buffing the Neurothrope itself, who already has a very high ceiling. The Adepta Sororitas are the latest faction to get a machine of war. You will be able to select the Exorcist artillery tank as one of the incursion options this patch. I have a dedicated showcase video going through the machines of war and the incursion nuances, but there are also 2 new NPCs for the faction that we can fight as enemies. The Battle Sister and Zephyrim. The Battle Sister is a fairly bland NPC. She has a physical melee and a bolter ranged attack. She has a starting crit chance of 10% and also has the Adepta Sororitas faction trait, Act of Faith, which gives them additional crit chance and damage with each Imperial ally that dies. The Zephyrim has the Deep Strike and Flying traits to add to Act of Faith. They have both a crit and block chance, and it also has a cool passive ability called Embodied Prophecy that also gives them bonus damage, bonus block chance, and bonus block amount for the first 2 rounds of the game. They have very similar in-game models to Celestine and Hergemine. I'll go over the Machine of War properly in its dedicated showcase, but it looks to be a pretty powerful unit that improves the Psyker team in particular. Aesoth is the second playable Adeptus Custodes that is being added to the game. He will have a 2-week hero release event starting on June 15th. If you haven't seen it yet, I've done my usual character showcase, which I will link in the video description. Guild War has had some much needed updates which I hope are the first wave of changes to the mode. They are introducing a league system where guilds move up and down the leagues in a similar fashion to the Arena League system. Promotion and demotion occurs based on trophy count, but we don't have exact information on how much will be gained or lost. We do know that your opponent's power is taken into account when calculating this. Being in a higher league gives you more rewards as expected. Snowprint are also giving us a bunch of free war credits to start the new system, and guilds will be placed in one of the 3 lower leagues to start with. The starting league will depend on past performance. There are 2 character quests this patch. Forecast fights alongside the Dark Angels, Black Templars, and Ultramarines on June 18th versus the Death Guard. Anufet fights with the Necrons on July 9th against the Black Templars. There are 2 tournament arenas this patch. The first is a traditional power-ups one with the Infested sub-theme, so both sides are attacked by Tyranids. The second is a Faction Wars tournament arena, similar to the one that we have just had, where each faction gets some summons to join them in an effort to balance each of the factions out. There is another Training Rush event this patch, where you are rewarded for killing enemies with Blessed Requisitions and experience books on offer as prizes. Speaking of Blessed Requisitions, there are 4 different Blessed Requisition events this patch, each one giving you an opportunity to earn different characters. I have showcased each banner on screen here along with their dates that their events run in case any interest you. The Legendary Release event this month is for Mephiston. It will be the 3rd and final run for this character's Legendary Release event. Check out my showcase guide if you want some insights and tips for success. There's always a bunch of other stuff that I don't have time to fully cover. I have listed a few here on this slide, but I'll point out the buff to Mephiston, giving him Rapid Assault to bring him in line with the other Blood Angels. I think that this buff is actually pretty huge, as giving him 4 movement plus the ability to move allies forward gives him a lot of tactical flexibility. The other big one is the change to Magnus. Previously, he would always clone the same character based on its starting position. Now that's been changed to a truly random cloning process. There are some other things and bug fixes in the notes, and I would encourage you to check out the full patch notes. This was a quick summary of the important stuff, and the video has gone on for long enough. Thanks as always to my Patreons, and bye for now.
Doo-doo-dee. It's Nandi.